What's up, everybody? It is Matt from Electric All Wheel, and today we have the Denago City 1 high step 48 volt 500 watt rear hub motor with a 13.6 amp hour integrated battery. This bike has Zoom hydraulic brakes, left hand thumb throttle, left hand display controls, right hand thumb trigger shift for your gear shift on your rear derailleur and freewheel. This bike is perfect for your city commute. We are going to add the electric all-wheel dual battery discharge balancer kit, plug-and-play cable adapters fit for the Denago City 1, and we are going to add our trusted and handy-dandy 48 volt 10 amp hour battery in a bag. We have used this battery across a lot of our dual battery installs, and it is one of our favorites, especially for this frame install, because it can fit right here and it can fit like so. And then we have room for more accessories as well. We are pretty excited about this install. Should be fairly clean. We are going to attempt to do the external install with a 40 amp balancer, and then we will place the balancer in the bag with the cables on the external end, strap it with the bag straps on the frame, and then move on to our extra range. We will provide some range calculations towards the end of the video, so stick around for that. If you haven't already, give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. It is our primary, and if you're in the area, check out E-Bikes of Tampa Bay, Florida. Listen, you guys are joining this group, but you are not putting up events to go for a ride, and you got to do that. Get an event going and go for a ride with your e-bike friends. Here we go. Take out this battery so we can get to this plate. All right, so there are 3 screws you need to get out. They're here, here, and then here. You want to make sure that you choose a screwdriver that gets these out, and I must caution, do not strip your screws. Be careful. Make sure you have the right fit screwdriver. Yeah, and just make sure that I get a hold of this screw. You can see that it's much different than the other ones. So these 2 screws are different, and you'll want to make sure that you get a screwdriver that fits in here. If you'll have a look in there, you'll see the controller is affixed to the side. We are going to have to take that loose for a moment. This is a 21 amp controller, and we're going to target this screw right here, but it's going to be on the outside of the frame, right there. So we're going to get onto that screw, remove this, and then we'll be able to pull the controller. Excellent. We are now out, and so what we're after now is to get our cabling up through here, and for that we're going to have to move this around, move the controller around. We may not need to take it all the way out, but we need the room so that we can push the extension cables through the opening in the bottom. You saw me remove the connection for the plate, and that is the plate that connects to the battery, and we did that. We're going to have to plug that in here, and we need to get both of these cable ends through the bottom and then up through the frame body, and we're going to have to move the controller around so that we can access the hole in the bottom of this controller compartment so that we can get these cables up through there and into their appropriate connections. So we're going to move this controller and then slip these 2 cable ends up into the body. And now I want to get a hold of the connector that's on the controller. Just go ahead and get this plugged in. Remember, there are arrows on the faces of these. These 2 are right here, and they allow you to know that you're plugged in correctly. After that, I'm going to try and pull out the majority of that slack and then get this controller placed back into position so that we can get the screw back in it. Go. So this is my connector for the plate. So I'm going to take my plate, go ahead and plug it in. I'm looking for the same thing, the screws on the face. Plug those in just like so, and then I'm going to pull my slack out the bottom just like I did before. There we go. We know that's going to be a good fit. Now I'm going to put the screw back into the controller. I'm going to take my 40 amp balancer, grab my ends. You can't really mess this up, just grab the ones that fit. Plug that in. Plug in the other one. I'm just going to set it down like that. Go ahead and take my battery, plug that in. And then I'm just going to see if I can get some power to the display. Perfect. That's power coming off of the second battery. We know that the factory battery isn't plugged in, and so we are live. That being said, I'm just going to unplug this. I'm going to unplug our balancer because we're going to run it through the frame real quick after we're done buttoning this up. Right now we'll go ahead and plug in our balancer again and check the factory battery. So now we've plugged in our factory battery with the balancer, which you can see on the ground. And then let me go ahead and see if we can get power. And there we've got it. It lights up with just the factory, no second battery, and there's your balancer. At this point, I'm just going to take this balancer loose from those cables. And then I'm going to run those cables up through that small little opening right behind the bottom bracket, right behind the seat post. Yeah, let me get those there. Then I'm going to take my second battery, my 48 volt, 10 amp hour battery, and I'm going to do an install like so. So first thing I'm going to do is get this in here and get the cables wrapped around it, or the wrap around the cables. I'm going to take my balancer and go ahead and plug that in. And then this is my last plug-in for the second battery. I'm going to tuck this thing in on the side here. That way all the cables will go in. Get my external wrap around these things. There we go. There we are. Nice and snug. Everything is plugged in. We got our zipper. We do have a little bit of gap to let the cables in at the top of the bag, but we're pretty happy with this. They're not waterproof, so keep that in mind. This is a waterproof bag, but totally sealed. And when you make a connection internal to the bag, it's not totally sealed, obviously, right here. Well, there you have it. We have successfully installed a second 48 volt, 10 amp hour battery on this Denago City 1 e-bike. This is a great commuter bike, and we have added another 10 amp hours of range. So let's get to the range calculations for you. I know a lot of you are curious about that. The original battery was 13.6 amp hours, and we added 10 amp hours. So we're going to go 13.6 plus 10 equals 23.6. We're going to multiply that by 48, which gives us 1,132.8 watt hours. And then we're going to divide that by 25, which is the microtole constant. And the microtole constant says that it's 25 watt hours per mile ridden at 20 miles an hour, throttle only. And with that, you get a range of 45.3 miles. That is some kind of mileage for this bike. Keep in mind that you are not isolated to this 48 volt 10 amp hour battery. You can get any 48 volt battery you want. Make sure you have the right connectors. You can get a down tube battery. Perhaps take a down tube battery, add it to your rear rack, maybe rivet nut some on your crossbar, or an alternative strap adapter connection. We've actually shown a variation of this in the step-through version of the Denago City 1 install, and maybe you could add that here to the high crossbar. We'll also leave a link to a suspension seat post that will fit the Denago City 1, because if you're out there on an extended range ride, you want your bum to be comfortable. So give that a look. It is a great seat post, weight limit 300, and it adds a level of comfort you have not felt before, so keep that in mind. If you haven't already, give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. It is our primary, and if you're in the area, check out e-bikes of Tampa Bay, Florida. Get in that Facebook group, make an event, and go for a ride with your friends. We'll talk to you next time.